Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Fearless Dating video series. Thank you for being here, and today I want us to cover the 36 questions to fall in love. 36 questions to fall in love. Could it be so simple? Did I not have to go on date after date after date after date with people I didn't like, people I did like, people I was a bit meh about? Did I just need 36 questions to completely speed up that whole journey that I was on? Apparently so. According to a study that was created a few years ago and put into action by a few psychologists in the US, apparently there are 36 questions that can just lead us, nudge us ever so slightly closer to that love and that loving relationship that we so desire. And so there's some perspectives that I wanted to share with you here today, because I'm Marty Joshi, the coach and creator of Fearless Dating, and I've found through the journeys that not only the journey that I've been on personally, but the ones that I've been on with my coaching clients, that there are a few little tweaks, a good chunk of insights and experiences, collective experiences that I wanted to share in this video series so that you could take whatever resonates with you, go out into the world, try this stuff on and become your very own version of a fearless dater. So thank you for being here, and let's get started, right? So the 36 questions to fall in love. So this was conducted, like I said, a few years ago by a set of researchers back in the US. And Dr. Arthur Aaron and co went about testing, and the actual, if you want to look this up, the study itself was called the Experimental Generation of Interpersonal Closeness. Very catchy title. And what they created was a set of 36 questions, all becoming sort of increasingly personal, that they felt would help generate that feeling of closeness and intimacy between you and your date, you and a friend, you and your spouse, partner, if you've been in a relationship for a long time. And what they said, one of the things that they said was, one key pattern associated with the development of close relationships amongst peers is sustained, escalating, reciprocal, personal self-disclosure. And so that's why there's this, like they say, there's this escalation to the way that the questions are asked. They're almost cut up into 3 chunks. And the first set are quite light. You know, you've got things like, when did you last sing to yourself or someone else? Then you go into the middle chunk of questions, and you've got things like, what do you most value in a friendship? And then the third, probably most intense chunk of all people in your family whose death would you find most disturbing and why? So pretty intense, right? And it's a really, and this set of questions is then followed up by about 2 to 4, that's the recommended time, 2 to 4 minutes of eye contact, eye gazing with your date, your partner, whoever you're doing this exercise with. And so yeah, it gets pretty intense. And it's a really, really interesting exercise, one that I tried out personally a few years back when I was dating quite actively with a few of my dates. And actually we had a really great time going through this. You could quite, as soon as you brought this topic up, you quite easily see who was, you know, your type of person, because you'd have the people that are like, yeah, okay, cool, let's give this a go, versus the other people that are a little bit skeptical of like, I'm not sure I want to do that, versus the people that are a bit kind of on the kind of skeptical side but open to it. So I had a great time trying these out with a few of my dates, and we really got to know each other so well. And this very much inspired one of the key sections of the Fearless Dating Coaching Program, which is all about co-creating deep connection with yourself, with your date, with the people in your life, which is just such an important skill for us to have. And so I've suggested this to, this as a potential route, a potential path to, my clients. And also in the Fearless Dating Coaching Program, we open a lot of the sessions by having this period of just asking each other deep and meaningful questions. Now, I start it off at the beginning of the program, but later on my clients take over, and it's really beautiful just to see how they throw themselves into this this process of just getting to know more and more about each other. And one of my clients in my recent group actually brought to one of the sessions, when it was her turn to lead, something called conversation menus. I'm not exactly sure who the author or where they've come from, but she shared this with the group. And I was looking through some of the questions, and I was kind of a little bit struck by, I guess, they didn't feel very kind of, I don't really want to say appropriate, but they didn't ring very true to me. They almost made me feel a little bit uncomfortable in the sense of, I don't know what kind of, if they would actually facilitate a closeness, if I was to use this on a first, second, or even third date with someone. And just to give you an example of some of the questions in that particular set, so this isn't the 36 questions, this is something called conversation menus. And one of the questions in the main course part was, what kind of suffering would you want a prospective partner to have experienced in the past? And as I read that, I just felt, I don't want to ask that question, and I would never want to be asked that question. I can understand what it's trying to get at, like, what kind of experiences do you want your partner to have? What kind of emotional resilience do you want your partner to have, perhaps? But I wouldn't want to ask it in this way. It just feels very selfish. It feels very unkind. And that made me very uncomfortable. And then there was another question, there's loads, but I just wanted to pick some of them. And then there was this one about, in what way is your partner, if you're doing this with your current partner or ex, quite annoying? And again, I was just like, I can imagine this not leading to a very healthy dialogue or very healthy conversation between me and my date or me and my partner. And so it really got me to think about the power of these kind of questions that are given to us, at our disposal, these tools that we can use that are great, great, especially if we struggle with conversation, if we struggle with our confidence and ability to create a strong, meaningful conversation with someone. These are great tools to have at our disposal, but are they kind of shooting us in the foot ever so slightly by potentially being spoken in a language that is not our own? And this goes back to a previous episode that I shared, which I really recommend. If this is of interest to you, I really recommend you watch that, and it's called Speak Your Language. I think it's episode 17. Check that out. And this is just a continuation of that, because these tools are great, but what I think is really important with this is that we check in with the reasons as to why we're asking these questions. What are we hoping to find out about our partners as a result, or our dates as a result of asking these questions? Like, if we read a question, it makes us feel good. We're like, yeah, I really want to know what this person thinks about this, and I'd love for them to know this about me. Why? Why do you want to know that? And what is it about this question that you really like? And actually, so much of fearless dating is about yes, being courageous and confident, but being courageous and confident as the person you are, not kind of twisting yourself into pretzel straight shapes because you think you have to come across in a certain way, or you want to portray yourself in a certain way. And I think sometimes that can be the danger of utilizing these kind of tools, because they're not our language, they're not authentic to who we are. And so what I wanted to suggest that you do, might be a fun thing for you to play with, is find these 36 questions or any set of questions that you enjoy and like what they're trying to find out, and spend some time creating your own version of that. Like, what would be a very natural way of you asking that question? What language would you use? What kind of tone would you use as you ask them? And again, knowing why you want to ask those questions is going to mean it will mean that you ask them from a genuine place of care and respect out of this person, as opposed to asking things like, what kind of suffering do I want you to have experienced, or my ex-partner was annoying, or you're annoying because of XYZ. Again, it just feels very selfish. It feels very dismissive of that person's feelings. And I don't know how much closeness it will actually generate between you and your partner. So again, this is very much about speaking your own language, coming across as the person you genuinely are, as opposed to trying to be something that just doesn't fit with who you are, what you value, the standards that you uphold. So that is what I wanted to share with you today, this perspective on 36 questions to fall in love and beyond, all the tools and tools that we have at our disposal to help generate closeness between us and our date. Get them, find out about them, great, or just start from scratch. Just create your own version of these. Whatever you choose to do, put your stamp on it. Make it make it a beautiful reflection of who you are and the care that you have about the people in your life and the people that you want to get to know. And I have a feeling that that is going to really expedite the level of closeness that you are able to create with your date, with your partner, in your relationships and beyond. So thank you for watching, and let me know how you get on with that. I'd really love to hear. If you're going to experiment with creating your own set of questions, your own interpretations of certain questions, then I would absolutely love to hear. So thank you so much. And if what I've shared with you today resonates, then let's get in touch, because I would love to, if you feel that, you are dating in a way that just doesn't feel right, it's frustrating, it's annoying, you've just had enough of doing dating this way, then send me a message, because you and I can have a short 10-minute conversation in which we can identify something that's not working quite right for you, and the way in which we can upgrade it, tweak it, so that dating can feel fun and it can feel natural to you again. So send me that message. I'd absolutely love to hear from you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye.